Oh, I can't keep it in. I can't keep it in. I've got to let it out. I've got to show the world. World's got to see all the love that's in me. I said, why walk alone? Why worry when it's warm over here? You've got so much to say what you mean what you think, and think anything. Oh, why must you waste your life away? You've got to live for today, then let it go. Oh, lover, I wanna spend this time with you. There's nothing I wouldn't do if you let me know. Oh, and I can't keep it in. I can't hide it and I can't lock it away. I'm up for your love. Love heats my blood. Blood spins my head and my head falls in love. Oh. Oh, I can't keep it in. I can't keep it in. I've gotta let it out. Oh, I've gotta show the world. World's gotta know of the love that lies low. So why can't you say, if you know, then why can't you say? You got too much deceit. Deceit kills the light. Light has to shine as sunshine, light. Love, that's no way to live your life. You allow too much to go by, and that won't do. No, lover, I wanna have you here by my side. Now don't you run, don't you hide, while I'm with you. Oh, and I can't keep it in. I can't keep it in. I've gotta let it out. I've gotta show the world. World's gotta see all the love that's in me. I said, why walk alone? Now why worry when it's warm over here? You've got so much to say what you mean what you think, and think anything. Why not? Now why not?
Push himself.
That is Andrews under center on 4th and 1. Andrews spinning away, and there he goes! Andrews all the way! Touchdown! What a call by the Ravens! Patrick Ricard leading the way for Mark Andrews, his first career rushing touchdown.
Charles, Todd Monken is in his bag, is what the young kids would say. And John Harbaugh said to us, you always have to reinvent yourself. So we talked about their struggles on short yardage. A week ago, Mark Andrews gets under center. He hands the ball off.
All right, folks. A couple weeks ago, the Ravens were 1-5, Adam. And somehow they are 5-5, and they are knocking on the door of the NFC, the AFC North title against the Steelers, who are a game up on them still, and they haven't played each other yet. So this month of December is going to be a battle of two rivals. So,
yeah.
So welcome to the show tonight here on November 18th, 2025. We have a big show planned for you. We will be talking Ravens Jets with Richard Simonelli. I think that's it, from the Jets beat writer from the ESPN. And Matt Trigger from We Bleed Purple at 8:30. We'll talk about that game coming up on Sunday. And 8:15, we'll have former Florida State football star who played some years in the CFL, Greg Reid, will be joining us. And right now on the program, we're by phone, our coach from Towson University. The Tigers are trying to finish up the season on a high note after beating Albany last weekend up in Albany. They play Campbell on Senior Day this Saturday at 1 at Johnny Unitas Stadium. So we're bringing Coach Shimrick on the phone with us. Coach, thanks for joining us tonight. And A big win up in the capital city of the Empire State on Saturday.
Yeah, proud of our guys. Albany was a team. Obviously, they don't have a great record, but they played a lot of people really close. And so felt really good about our guys' effort, be able to go up there and get our 5th win of the season.
Yeah, big win. That's most wins you guys had on the road this year. Since like 2013 or something like that. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, 5 wins on the road. Obviously happy for how we've been playing there. We've got, obviously, as we've talked about, one last game and, haven't won at home yet. So got to be able to finish the regular season at home with a win.
Yeah. Adam, you have a question for him?
Yeah, so because I've been looking at some stats, and this year your kicker is out to make some history at Towson. So just talk about the year that your sensational kicker has made, especially on the field goals.
Yeah, no, he's doing a great job. And, he has been extremely accurate. The 2 he missed, both of them were at home and really short yardage. And so he's just been as consistent as anybody that I've been around, except for like I said, those 2 kicks. And he's been a great kickoff guy too. Puts it in the end zone, very consistent. Caden played for us at West Florida, transferred in, been a 3-year starter for us, and will graduate in December with a degree from Towson. So very, very proud of him.
Oh, that's good. It's great that he's getting a degree from a great university, and he followed you up here, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. This week, taking on Campbell University, one of the new teams in the CAA. I know last year you guys beat them on the road. You had like a slugfest last year with them down there. Pretty much, came down to the final couple plays. So what do they look like this year? Do they look different from last year, or are they basically the same?
Yeah, our game last year, I think it was pretty close until about the 4th quarter, and we were able to pull it away. They're a very unique team. So they sit here at 2-9. They have lost twice in overtime. They've lost by 2, 3, 4, 7, and 7.
Oh, wow.
So, those losses, all of them, 1-score games, could have gone either way. And, got a lot of really good athletes. We're going to have to be on point, and we're going to have to, do a great job. So I think it's a team that creates a lot of problems. But, again, I like how we've played the last 3 weeks. We obviously had the North Carolina A&T win. We had a close game with Villanova, and we won last week at Albany. So we just got to do what we've done and continue to play at that high level.
Yeah, you guys had a big 4th quarter against these guys last year. It was neck and neck, after 3 quarters, and then you guys just took it in the 4th quarter, scoring 24 points and winning 45-23. So I guess you need one of those games again. Like hang them in there and then blow them out in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, I would love that. And again, really got an opportunity on senior day to celebrate. A lot of guys that have been in the program for a while, guys that have done a great job for us. Want to send them out the right way.
Yeah, talk about your seniors. What do you think about? I know you came in this program. This is your year number 4?
Finishing season 3.
3. I'm getting you 4 because I'm thinking you've been there longer.
There you go.
Yeah, season 3. So these guys probably were sophomores when you first came in. So what was it like? Taking over a program and getting these kids to buy into your system.
Yeah, it's been a great process. A guy like Miles Brody and Xavier Terry have been here from the beginning. Gene Germain, Dan Volpe, Lucas Lindano, Isaiah Perkins, Doom Calais, Edaheen, those guys in the program when we got here. And, when you have the opportunity now to coach those guys, Nathan Kent, another one, that just, created a great bond with them. Very thankful for their hard work, their perseverance through this. We had high expectations this year. Obviously, we're fighting and scratching to try to get to 6-6. We had much higher expectations than that, but really happy and thankful for these guys and what they've been able to do.
Hey, if you could win a home game before the season's over, so that would probably be good for you guys to catapult yourself to next year and give the seniors a big win on their way out. So it's not like they lose their, tough. You had tough losses at home, because if you look at it, you had Elon on the ropes at home and you lost 17-3. You had Monmouth on the ropes and you lost 42-31, and then you got to Villanova, and you were close with Villanova with 4 points to go, down by 4 with in the fourth quarter, and they just took over because they had more horses to do it. So you guys were there. It's just you just didn't need that one play to get that touchdown and to win the game.
Yeah, and you throw in the Youngstown State game, they won with a time expiring walk-off field goal. Yeah. So with that being said, no, completely agree, and really want to send our seniors out the right way, give them the opportunity to enjoy one last game together, get the opportunity to, be in a position where they can, sing the fight song with our fans, student body, to end out their career after a win. That's
cool. Adam, you have another question for him?
Sure. So we've talked about a lot of starters this year, but is there one reserve player that has stood out to you, Coach?
There's a handful of them, and I think, as you look at it, we got a lot of guys coming back, and so, a guy like Jarvis Jones and Cleveland Charlton, 2 wide receivers that have played, a lot for us, but haven't been starters. Peyton Faulkner, tight end, who's coming back. I think there's a handful of guys that I think will be up and coming guys for us, as we move forward. TJ Sands on defense, Cody Williams on defense. Zakat Brown has played a lot for us. So, there's a handful of guys that, as you look at what our future looks like, we're excited. We got a good group coming back, and I think we're going to be, a really, really good team in the future.
Well, this league's going to look different next year because Villanova's going to the Patriot League, same as, William & Mary. Richmond's already there. Yeah, so it's going to be and then you got St. Francis coming to town?
Sacred Heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're playing really good football right now. They're coming into the league, so I agree. It'll be a different league.
Yeah, it's really crazy for me because I started this back in my journey doing this broadcasting back in 2007 when the CAA was the Atlantic 10, and then when it became the CAA, and now it's the Coastal Athletic Conference, and talking to other universities about JMU and Villanova and Delaware and William & Mary, these conferences who are going to get our old teams, they're really happy to have them.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And again, I think the CAA, just like everything else, when I went to the University of Colorado, it was the Big 8. When my brother played at UCLA, or my dad played at UCLA, It was the Pac-6. When my brother played at UCLA, it was the Pac-10. So, everything's changing.
Yeah, football is changing. It's like you got all these weird teams. I still don't think when you have USC and UCLA are in the Big Ten, I still think that's a Pac-12 game when they play each other.
No doubt.
Yeah, to me it's like yeah. But now the Pac-12 is coming back, or whatever they're going to be back next year with weird teams, except for Washington State and Oregon State. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's going to be interesting.
There you go.
Yeah, I know. But hey, like you said, football's changing. Universities are trying to find the better thing on the other side, that greener side over the pasture, and I wish them luck. Hope they could be like JMU and Delaware in the higher levels.
Go find where whatever fits your fancy at this point in time.
I know.
And there's a lot out there that college athletics, the landscape's changing. So
true.
But we're excited about our future here at Towson, and excited about what's taking place, not only football-wise, but our whole athletic department. A lot of exciting things happening.
Exactly. You got a great basketball team and a good women's basketball team as well. And can't forget baseball. Coach Tyner does a great job, with the guys there. And hopefully this year you can turn the corner and get better and get players and maybe get to the CA baseball tournament. You never know.
Yeah. Sure. Coach does a great job. He's been fantastic. So excited about Towson Athletics. Again, men's lacrosse, women's lacrosse, always do a great job. Our women's volleyball, hosting the CAA tournament for like the 5th time, So a lot of positive things taking place.
That's awesome. Well, we'd love to get you on next week to recap the last game of the year against Campbell. I hope to see you Saturday. I'm trying to get over there. I can see what my schedule is, but it's supposed to rain. Like, come on, folks. I'd like to have no rain.
It's not going to rain till after the game.
Oh, that's good. All right, I'll be there.
Good. Yeah. Good.
I hate driving in the rain. Like, ugh. Yeah.
I know.
I hope to see you there Saturday. If not, we'll get you on next Tuesday, and we'll recap the rest. The last game of the year.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
All right, sir. Have a great week, okay?
Thanks, Coach.
All right, see you. Bye.
I always enjoy talking to Coach Shinnick.
Yes.
Now, one of the coolest guys out there that is pretty cool to meet him in person earlier in the year and have him on a show every week. And, he's like family.
Yeah, well, that's against Saturday, 1 o'clock at Johnny Unitas Stadium against Campbell. And like you said, the weather should be holding off until later in the afternoon. So
good, yeah.
So I'll see what I can do to get over there to see it, see that game. So
yeah.
We're waiting for Greg Reid to join us. I did send him the link on his phone, so hopefully he got it. But if not, we'll try to get him on next week or whatever.
Yeah, we could try to get him on, for our Knowles post-game show.
We could probably do that.
It's called, and we will be doing a Knowles post-game show. Probably it'll be like a fourth quarter watch party. So it's called.
We should do third and fourth quarter.
Heck, I'm game. Yeah. So it's called it's called We've Seen the Craziness. If you want to see crazy ACC football like we've seen all year, come join Chris and I and Priscilla Proctor Friday night, probably around 10 o'clock or so, and enjoy the rest of the Florida State NC State game with us. And we will be previewing that game later on in the show, so stick around.
Yes. The reason why we played Cat Stevens earlier in the start up the show, he on this day in 1972, he had a 3-week one as the number one album in the United States, with Cat's Bull at 4, and that was one of the hits on that album. I can't keep.
Nice.
Yeah, so we are keeping it in. We're not going to let it out tonight.
So. No.
Yeah. Also, in a few real quick here, we're going to be talking about 1995 tonight at 9:30, because we're going to bring back the Baltimore Stallions. But before we do that, I want to give guys a warning before we bring this on. This happened in 1985 to a very good quarterback for the Washington Redskins. So I'm going to say, viewer, if you have young kids, you may want to tune away for this because it's really disgusting. So here it is.
Yep.
Where is it? Trying to find it. Let me put it in here. Okay, hold on.
It's there.
It's there somewhere. Did I actually put it in there? Hold on. Hold on here, guys. Hold on. I'm trying to see if I know I had it. Here it is. Put it in. I guess I deleted it by accident here. We'll get Greg in here. So, here it is. I got it. So here it is.
Reagan's, of course, now 4th all-time in rushing in the NFL. Sorry about that, OJ. Passed you last Sunday. Move behind Peyton, Jim Brown, and Franco Harris. 1st and 10. Reagan, flea flicker, back to Theismann. Theismann's in a lot of trouble. And it was Lawrence Taylor who slammed Theismann to the ground at 42-yard line. The blitz was on. That's not necessarily a good play to have called. And quickly, Lawrence Taylor was up saying Theismann is hurt. And I don't believe Lawrence Taylor would have reacted that way unless Theismann is really hurt. He slammed him to the natural surface here. The blitz was on. That is not a good call to have with the blitz on. Theismann had no chance at all to get downfield with it. Let's take a look at with our reverse angle camera. He's looking deep, but he knows he's in trouble. Lawrence Taylor, number 56, right there. Carson is number 53. But it's Taylor over Carson, slamming, and you see the right knee, the right foot.
That's the ankle.
And I knew that something was really bad when Lawrence Taylor leaped.
BC's Monday Night Football.
We will not speculate on the extent of the injury to Joe Theismann.
All right, so there was a gruesome injury on this date in 1985 for Joe Theismann, who really ended his career.
And then he went on to be good and I thought he was a good broadcaster.
Yeah, he was. He was a very good broadcaster. So, all right, let's bring in his next guest.
Chris, can I bring him in?
Go ahead, big guy.
Well, folks, as Chris and I, as y'all know, Chris and I love our Florida State Seminoles, and they go on the road Friday night up to here in North Carolina, the state capital of Raleigh, to take on the NC State Wolfpack. Well, our next guest played the NC State Wolfpack on Halloween in 2009 and won. He not only did he play for Florida State, he also played in the Arena Football League, and he was a member of the CFL's Montreal Alouettes. So to get us in a Florida State mood for Friday night, let's bring in former FSU star Greg Reid is joining us tonight. So Greg, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And your coach was Bobby Bowden in his last season. So just talk about what was it like to be around a legend in Bobby Bowden.
How y'all doing tonight, man?
Doing good. Thanks for coming on. Okay.
No problem. I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all for having me. Playing for Bobby was great, man. He was very traditional, very structured. He was everybody loved to play for him, man. For real. It was like playing for basically like a father figure. You know what I mean? Something that you can just somebody you wake up in the morning and be ready to go to work for him. Put your heart out on the line for him, man. So it was a great experience. Once he came to Valdosta to see me, how like the whole city kind of just like you knew he was in town. So I knew it was kind of like serious, a big deal then. And after meeting him and meeting his family, his wife, and you know what I mean, how everything was going in Florida State at the time, and I felt like that was a great move for me.
That's cool. Yeah, and you also had Jimbo as your offensive coordinator, so right. Jimbo as well. So those two were working together. How was it like having practice with both of them?
A great offensive coordinator, great head coach too.
Yeah, they both are great coaches. So So what's your take on the team this year? I know we were 5-5, and we started out really good, beating Alabama, and then we played those two cupcake games, and then we go to Virginia and lose in double overtime, and ever since then it's been going like downhill. So what right. is from watching from afar?
From watching, man, I feel like we have a pretty good team. It showed against, it don't matter if it was the first game or not. It shows what our team capable of. But I just think we right now we just don't have a purpose, man. Like we're you know what I mean? Like what in football and any team sport, any team sport, you play for the people next to you, and I don't think that's what's really going on with the team right now. Like, I don't really think they really want to. I think they want to win. I think they want to make plays, and it shows that. And but I just don't think they really, when we won in 2013, it was, we was fighting for each other. You know what I mean? I don't think that's too much going on right now. I think it's we begging and itching for a play. We begging and itching to be that team that everybody wants us to be, but we ain't really standing on it. You know what I mean? So, and that's what and what it's gonna take is somebody to to step up and have to just be real.
Yeah. Do you think Mike lost the locker room pretty much, or do you think it's just you don't have the people who have that passion to play for Florida State, or just there for that money?
Uh,
What you
no, I
think?
don't. I don't think he lost the locker room. I think the team love him. You know what I mean? And you see that a lot, and a lot of players mention that. But I think it's we don't have, bro. To be honest with you, I mean, not to knock anybody on the team because I
Right.
think we have great players. But man, I don't. I really don't think we have a superstar, man. Like somebody that's like, okay, we see what he can do at this level against this type of team and this type of player. So it's just like I don't think we have like it was a like when we played with James, even Christian Ponder. It was like it was a standard set. You know what I mean? It's like bro, we like Alabama game was like that's what Florida State is. You know what I mean? So it's just like I kind of think like once we got hit in the mouth against Virginia, it kind of like kind of shook us a little bit. Like it showed us, like, bro, we ain't really like who gonna, you know what I mean? Who the type of player is gonna step up and make a play at it at the right moment? You know what I mean? We don't have one of those type of players.
Yeah, it's
Just to
called.
be honest with you.
Chris and I were at the ACC kickoff in July, Greg, and when Mike Norvell took the podium, he sounded like an Alabama preacher man. I mean, he. I mean, last year he didn't really want to be there, and this year, I mean, Chris
I
can
get
tell
what
you
you're
the
saying
same
though. I
thing.
get
It
what you.
was,
Me and my brother was looking at too. He a big FSU fan, but
Mm-hmm.
we were saying that too. I didn't mean to cut you off though,
oh,
but
you're good.
Okay.
we were saying that too, man. We're just like we just too nice, bro, to people, man. It's just like
Yeah, yes,
I
yeah.
hate it, man. I get it, and that's I get it. It's just like, bro, we just way too nice to people,
Yeah, I know.
way too nice, man.
I totally agree with you. There's nobody on this team that's like the leader because in 2023 when
I'm
we
I'm just I'm
yeah
saying what he was saying about Alabama too, though. Like how he was just praising them, bro. Like I wouldn't have. I remember an interview that, I know it's a lot of talks about the head coach and stuff and all that, but I don't want to bring it. I remember his interview that, Jimbo was like, man, I don't care if we, on a football field or in a parking lot. You know what I mean? Like, that's the attitude that we, you know what I mean, that we got to get back to, man. For real, for real.
So let me ask you this question. I know you don't want to Mike's a nice guy. We like Mike. Mike's great. But if they have to make a change, do you think Jimbo should be the back come back, or do you think somebody else should be a different voice? If they get to that point.
Uh,
I don't want to put you on the
I
spot.
mean,
And
no,
then
no, no, no. It's to believe it or not, I never really met Mike before, man. I haven't
okay,
haven't got a chance to meet him, so I can't really too
right.
much.
You can't go off. You
But
haven't.
to be honest, man, it's just gonna be a lot of pressure, man. You know what I mean? If Jimbo does come back, it's just gonna be a lot of pressure. But which I think, after playing with Jimbo and growing up and seeing the things that he was coaching and what he was doing on the field, I think it'll be a great fit, man. Tallahassee is a great spot, man. For I don't know if
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
like for
yeah. I
recruitment,
mean,
man. Like you get Texas, that's right on I-10. You get
Oop. I guess you hit the button. I don't know.
well,
Well, he'll log back in. I don't know what happened there. We'll see if he. Yeah. Craig, you there? I have no idea.
I have no idea either. Because he was going.
Oh, there he is. Are you there?
my bad.
That's
Oh, you're good, Greg. Oh, you're all good, brother. You're all good.
It's
I'm thinking
you
like
got
the damn internet went up again. Yeah. Like good lord.
I think I had a phone call or something.
Yeah. So anyway,
But you get Tallahassee is a great spot for recruitment. You get Texas kid, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. You know what I'm saying? So it's no reason like that, that we shouldn't be getting these type of kids though, man. For real.
Yeah, I went over. I went.
And
To
I think Jimbo can. He definitely can recruit very well. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, I believe it, Greg. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you have a question?
Yeah.
For me?
So you were in the CFL and you played with the Montreal Alouettes. So just to talk about what was it like to play in the CFL, because this past weekend was the Grey Cup.
Right. And they freaking lost, man. I'm so mad. They almost
Yeah.
had them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Hey, I got to give you credit. That quarterback for you guys for the Alouettes, he pulled a hamstring in the last minute of the game, and he was like hobbling around like Joe Theismann. And I'm like,
yeah.
Good God, seriously? And he threw that pass in the last minute pass, and if he had somebody in the end, that would have been a touchdown if they had someone to catch it.
He was the guy that was the quarterback on the other team was our starting quarterback, and the guy that was the starting quarterback from Montreal was our backup at the time in Montreal.
Oh wow,
man, this guy, I've been seeing it in him, man. Davis, I've been seeing him, the way he comes to work and like dedicate himself, bro. They say he's tore his hamstring though, man. It was crazy. He was still out there playing.
But it was like the last minute. He was hobbling and he was scrambling and he was like it looked like like he's going to get out of bounds and he's like he pulled up. He's like, oh God, and the guy goes. Yeah, the announcer goes, I think he pulled his hamstring. I'm like, yeah, probably did. And then I get to see the guy warming up, the other guy warming up in the on the sideline. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be interesting. Yeah. Right. So anyway, what do you like about Montreal? Because people say that's a great sports town because they got a good hockey program and with the Canadians and the Expos were great until they moved down to DC.
Well, have y'all ever been to Montreal?
Yeah. No,
oh my God, bro!
I have no.
I would love to go,
it's the one. Get on. It's one of the greatest sports towns that you ever been to. Like it's besides that though. The city is just like beautiful, man. Like I had a great time. I didn't really want to go anywhere else but Montreal, to be honest with you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was a great city, man. I had a great time. It's majority like French, but once you get to like comfortable with it, man, it was pretty straight. I ain't gonna lie. It was like I had a great time. I had, like I said, it's a big sports town, man. Like with the Canadians and you know what I mean, with everything like that. But I had fun. I spent like 5 years up there, man. Yeah, I spent 5 years. We was close. It's like every team I've been on, besides like high school, like it's like I always get to a point, and then the next year they win like a Grey Cup or a Super Bowl or a national championship. It's always worked out like that.
Yeah. Do you know how to speak French up there, or did you have?
Yeah, comment ça va, oui, oui.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to man the
Bienvenue.
Yeah.
He knows how to speak.
Man, once you be up there for a while, man, you start to meet people, man. Like just you have to learn that, man, for real.
What?
You have to learn to talk a little bit, the basic stuff for real.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
Nice. Well, Greg, we're going to let you go, but thank you so much for coming on tonight, and I hope you enjoy it. What are you doing right now these days? What are you getting yourself back?
Yeah, I'm working. I'm just basically mainly working with my son right now, man. He's in the 8th grade. He'll be going to the 9th grade next year, so I'm just getting him ready, man, for this whole football recruiting thing.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I stopped playing like maybe like 2.5 years ago. So yeah, I just been chilling there.
That's cool. Well, if you ever like to come back on the program, we'd love to have you. So I hope
for real. I understand. I bet that.
Yeah, and I want to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Y'all too. Happy holidays to y'all, man.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Go Knowles. And go Knowles.
Go Knowles, buddy.
That was fun.
All right, that's Greg Reid, former Florida State. I think he played on the defensive side of the ball.
He did. Because he was a punt returner.
Yeah, because I did find a video of him. I forgot to play it when he was there. So let me see if I still have it here. Yeah, here it is. I think this is what in the Chick-fil-A. If it's working, hello, not working. Oh, here this is in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl where our good friend Gary Stoken runs, and he just blew Lattimore right there. Just blew him up. Yeah, from South Carolina. I remember that game. I was at it was New Year's Eve, and I was at a
I remember that game
party. Yeah, I was at a New Year's Eve party down in Charlotte with my ex-girlfriend, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm watching my game." So let me get Greg Richard on the phone here. So
sure.
And in the meantime, you want me to bring? Yeah, you want to start talking to Matt first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, yeah. I'll talk to Matt Trigger real quick.
All right. Bring him in. So we're here.
Yeah. So this Sunday, after a great win versus the Cleveland Browns, the Baltimore Ravens have to face the New York Jets, and joining us now to represent the Baltimore Ravens is our good friend from We Bleed Purple podcast. Our good friend Matt Trigger is joining us. So Matt, thanks so much for joining us tonight. And after what we saw, with Lamar Jackson coming back, do you think Baltimore has a shot on catching Pittsburgh for the AFC North title?
I absolutely do. First and foremost, thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Anytime.
I believe that we're not only going to catch Pittsburgh, I believe we're going to win the AFC North this year. It's been a very wild ride, starting off 1-5 and then going on a 4-game win streak. One of those games being a Tyler Huntley start. But I do believe that we are going to win the AFC North for the third year in a row.
Yeah, and just talk about the game versus the Cleveland Browns. Mark Andrews had everybody thought he was going to have a tush push, but he actually had his first career rushing touchdown. So just talk about that crazy play he had, to get the rushing touchdown.
That's been a interesting play for us. The whole game was interesting. We were down for most of the game. Lamar Jackson just had one of those games where he wasn't on, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
First game, I think it was one of his first games he ever had in his career where he had 0 touchdown passes and 2 interceptions.
Wow.
Both of the interceptions look bad on the stat sheet, but if you watch the game, one was actually both of them were tipped balls that the receivers just both missed. And that's just the luck of the draw. It's the NFL. Those things happen. But
so Chris,
you want to bring him
joining us now to represent the New York Jets, and he is the Jets beat writer from ESPN. Rich Cimini is joining us. So Rich, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and just talk about the recent news about starting quarterbacks going to Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, that was pretty much expected. I think Justin Fields had probably worn out his welcome as the starter. And I think they almost made the change 4 weeks ago. Then Tyrod got hurt, and they kept it going with Justin. They won a couple of games, so they kept going with Justin. But obviously on Thursday night against the Patriots, it was not a good game for him at all. And so when this came down yesterday, it was not a surprise at all. It's probably the right move to make at this point.
Yeah, Rich, you guys started off really good against the Patriots. First drive, 13 plays, marched down the field, touchdown right away, and then all of a sudden, the quarterback from the Patriots just took over, and I came back and watched it a little bit later. I'm like, they should be up. Why is the Jets down? You guys came out of the gate so quick on Thursday night. I'm like, this could be a good game on Thursday.
The Jets had a really good drive. That was their best drive of the year. I think it was their first opening drive touchdown since last season. Mm-hmm. So they hadn't done that in a while. And I think what happened was the Patriots did a really good job of adjusting after that to some of the run games they were doing and some of the quarterback runs. Patriots, Mike Vrabel's a really good coach, and they adjusted, and the Jets, offense pretty much shut down after that.
Yeah. Tyrod Taylor going to be the quarterback. He's the quarterback here in Baltimore with Joe Flacco. So it's pretty funny. The Ravens are playing their former quarterbacks this year, in their schedule. So what is Tyrod Taylor going to do to get that Jet offense going? Because it seems like it's not clicking real quick. It's like some weeks you have good weeks, and some weeks you get bad weeks. It's like the Cleveland game was really good, and then all of a sudden last week was like good first series, and everything else was terrible.
Yeah, that pretty much describes it in a nutshell. I mean, New England has a really good defense, and so I think that had something to do with it. But Tyrod is he's a better pocket passer than Justin Fields. Obviously, he's not going to run around as much, so I don't think the Ravens have to worry about a lot of zone reads and the RPO stuff. Tyrod's going to keep the ball. I mean, he's going to throw the ball. He's not going to run it. Yeah, I think it'll open up their passing game because he'll push the ball downfield more. He'll try to get the receivers more involved, whereas Justin Fields was more or less just very conservative with the way he was playing. He was just throwing a lot of short stuff. And so this will open up the passing game a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, Rich, you got to look out for Mark Andrews. He could run the football now after Sunday.
Apparently, I know. I saw the run they did there. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think that was pretty nice play calling. I didn't think he had that speed. I'm like, I think he had more yards than I thought. He was second rusher in the game, but I'm like, wow, he actually ran down the field. He looked like he stole the thing. You know, like
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Lamar's got to watch out.
Yeah, I know. I think he would. So, what does the Jets got to do for that? Because that's something now you don't know. You know, Harvest could bring that in on Sunday. Do they know that might be one of those plays that you may have to look at and watch and see what happens on a short, 4th and 1?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, Andrews can do that. I think their main priority will be, of course, the other two guys, Lamar and Derrick Henry, two of the best. And so it's going to be a real challenge for the Jet defense. The Jet defense has not really played that well this year. I think they're 28th in scoring defense, and they got a lot of moving parts on defense. They got a lot of new players. Of course, they traded two of their best guys, Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner. So, this is going to be a huge challenge for the Jets defense.
Yeah. Well, let me bring in Matt Trigger. He does a weekly Purple podcast with good old Daniel Wilcox. He used to play for the Jets for a couple seasons. So, Matt, you got a question for Rich?
Yeah, Rich, big fan of your work. I've been seeing your work all over ESPN for years, man. Just wanted to say much respect to you.
Appreciate it.
No problem, man. How do you feel that this is going to the Tyrod Taylor situation? I know that you guys went away from Justin Fields. Do you feel Tyrod has a better matchup against the Ravens defense, who's kind of been a little bit of a stronger unit the last month or so? Do you feel like he poses a better fit to play Baltimore as opposed to Justin Fields?
No, I really don't think that has anything to do with it. I think. Look, Justin Fields there hasn't been any offensive production in the passing game. Justin Fields has averaged 100 yards passing in his last 5 starts. Obviously, you can't win in the NFL with 100 yards passing per week. And so, he would have brought more of a dimension in the running game, which I think would have challenged the Ravens on the edges. They'd have to play the RPOs and things like that. But this wasn't about the matchup. This was about just getting a better quarterback, a better drop back quarterback in there for the Jets, because Justin Fields, I think he's lost his confidence and he just was playing very, very poorly. He didn't really deserve to keep his job.
Yeah.
That's fair. Sorry, Chris. I got two more questions.
Yeah,
for
go ahead.
you, Rich.
Go ahead.
First one is, do you feel Justin Fields would be better suited moving forward, whether it's in New York or anywhere else? Do you think that he might be a new age, younger Taysom Hill type of guy to where he could probably be a gadget as opposed to just a starting or a backup quarterback?
That's an interesting question. I don't think so. He's been a quarterback his whole life. I mean, to switch him to a Taysom Hill type role, I don't know. I mean, he's an outstanding athlete. He's one of the fastest players on the Jets. I mean, when he gets in the open field, I mean, he made a run against Miami it was a Monday night game early October down there. I think it's a 40-something yard run where I think he outran half the Miami defense. It was an incredible run. And he's a quarterback. He was a highly productive quarterback at Ohio State. It hasn't gone great for him in the NFL, but sometimes you see these quarterbacks who sometimes, like a Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold, sometimes it takes 3 or 4 stops before they find their comfort zone. And so maybe that'll happen for Justin Fields. He's just not ready right now to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. So what went wrong with Justin Fields? Because he came out of Ohio State, like this highly recruited quarterback, and then he goes to Chicago, and they kind of messed around with him. I think they did something to him that not suited for his game. And then he goes off to Pittsburgh, and then he sat on the bench with Russell Wilson and played back and forth. That kind of ruins the psyche on somebody.
Yeah, no doubt confidence is a big part of it. I think, I thought the Pittsburgh experience may have actually helped his confidence because he played okay in the first 6 games. They went 4-2 with Justin Fields, and then they went back to Russell Wilson for the rest of the way. And so I think that 6-game stint made him a lot of money because the Jets get dollars guaranteed, largely based on what he showed in those 6 games. But he reverted back to what he was doing in Chicago. He doesn't see the field very well. His reaction time isn't great. He doesn't anticipate receivers. He doesn't throw open receivers, as the coaches like to say. And he's just not terribly accurate and holds the ball too long. He'll take some sacks that he doesn't need to take. So it's really just about the quickness or lack of quickness in his processing. And getting the ball out on time. That's the main issue.
That's true. Adam, you have the last question for both.
Sure. So, question for you and Matt. Starting with you, Matt. What are some keys for Baltimore to pull off the win versus the Jets? And reverse question to you, Rich. What are some keys for the Jets if they want to pull off the win versus Baltimore? So it's called I don't care who starts.
Rich, go ahead. Whoever wants it, go ahead. Rich, you want to go ahead?
I'll say the keys for the Jets. Look, this is going to take a Herculean effort. The Jets are about a 14-point underdog in this game, so it's going to. The Jets have not. Played like a complete game yet. So, I think for the Jets, it's going to start defensively and being able to contain Lamar. The Lamar-Derrick Henry combo is going to be tough for the Jets to contain them. So, I think playing the edges, maintaining their edge is going to be really, really important for them. And I just don't know if they have the speed on the edge anymore. So that'll be a big thing. I think the Jets can, offensively, it's going to be ball control. Just try to run the ball, shorten the game with long drives like they did against the Patriots in the first drive, and keep Lamar on the sideline. And the Jets are a good running team. That's something they do. I think they're ranked in the top 10 in rushing offense. So they are capable of doing that. The problem is the Baltimore defense is playing a heck of a lot better the last few weeks than they were when they had an awful start. So those will be the challenges for the Jets. I think the Jets are going to have to steal a touchdown either on special teams or defense to try to keep up with these guys.
Matt, what's the keys for the Ravens to win on Sunday?
Get out to an early lead and just wear them down. Lamar is, every time he has a flat game, the next game he always comes back and he's kind of like dynamite. A 4-touchdown game from Lamar wouldn't necessarily surprise me, but I think it's going to be really dependent upon the run game with Derrick Henry. He's been getting going. He's starting to really impose will on teams now. It's getting a little colder outside. And the emergence of Keaton Mitchell, he's fully healthy from his 2023 knee injury, and he's got his explosiveness back. He up until this past weekend, he was averaging almost 10 yards a carry. Like Rich kind of alluded to, just shorten the game, beat him down and play sound defense. They still got Garrett Wilson over there. Still got Breece Hall, Mason Taylor. They got some pretty good players over there. I hope this isn't a trap game for the Ravens because right now every win is important, especially with Pittsburgh winning this past Sunday against the Bengals. So it's important that they get out to an early lead and they kind of just apply the pressure and make sure that there's no wiggle room for Tyrod Taylor to create any sort of magic. And Yeah. Also, Rich, I don't know if you still have a Hall of Fame vote, but can you please vote for Terrell Suggs if you do?
Yeah.
I voted for him in the last round of voting, which was cutting it down to 25. He was in my final 25. So we haven't voted yet for the next round. We're waiting to find out who the final 25 are.
Yeah, cool.
We're politicking for you to help us out, Rich. Any help from New York would help.
Agreed.
We'll see. Hopefully he'll make the 25, and then we'll go on to the next round.
Hey, I would love to see Chuck Foreman in the Hall of Fame. He's from
I would too.
He's from Frederick, Maryland. So the spin doctor, he deserves to be in there too. So maybe next year. Maybe down the road. He's good.
He's in the senior category, right? So,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're going to announce that tomorrow morning. Actually, the 9 finalists, the 9 semifinalists for the senior category.
Okay.
Oh, nice, cool.
We'll keep an eye on that. Well, Rich, thank you so much for coming on tonight, and have a great trip down to Baltimore and get those crab cakes on over the weekend. Bring that back to New York. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Always do. Always look forward to that.
All right,
Thanks,
sir.
Guys. Thanks for having
Thanks
me.
for coming on. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Happy Thanksgiving, Rich and Matt.
All right, see you. Bye. All right, Matt. Thanks for coming on tonight, bud.
No problem, man. I appreciate you guys having me on for this segment. It's always nice. It's always nice coming on and talk football with you guys.
Thank you.
Shameless plug. I know that I'm not on my own show, but we got a really cool guest on our We Bleed Purple podcast tomorrow night. John Abraham from the Jets and the Falcons will be joining us.
Nice.
Yeah, number 13 all time. We'll be live 8:30 tomorrow night. John Abraham from the Jets and the Falcons will be joining us.
Cool.
He's a friend of Daniel's, so he decided to come on for Jets Week. But
Nice.
thank you guys. I'm sorry about the shameless
Tell
plug,
Daniel, I'll get a hold of him. I'll get him back on the show after I had a problem 2 weeks ago, and I tried to get him back on. I guess he had stuff to do, but we'll get him on next week for the Bengals game, probably.
Sounds good. I'll let him know, and thank you guys so much for having me on.
All right, Matt.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family,
Happy Thanksgiving, fellas.
Happy Thanksgiving, buddy. See ya.
Thanks, Matt.
All right.
I love talking to Matt and Daniel, and it's called having a legend like Rich Samedian.
It's great. He emailed me back and goes, "I'll do it." I'm like, "Holy shit, seriously?"
Well, he's a legend up there. It's got his.
And I didn't think I had that legendary status.
What, Chris? You do.
I know. Speaking of legends, coming up at 9:30, we're going to do a flashback to where were you on November 19th, 1995?
Living in New Hampshire.
Yes, because the Baltimore Stallions won the Grey Cup. And here's just some scenes we're going to talk about. They played against the Calgary Stampeders they call it the Wind Bowl because the wind was so bad that game that they were talking about suspending the game until the next day because it was so bad. It was 50-mile-an-hour winds up there in Saskatchewan. So we'll have Jim Spiros, the former owner of the Stallions, and we'll have IrvinSmith joining us, and also KennethWatson joining us as well at 9:30. So if you are a Stallion fan, that's why I'm wearing the old Stallion.
There you go.
Get ready for 9:30, and but right now we're going to switch gears and we're going to talk about my other favorite team, the New York Metropolitans. A lot of things going on this offseason for the Mets after a really tough end to the season that really ticked me off. I mean,
Well, it's called and I know it probably tipped Matt off as well because he covers the Mets, and it's called he wants to forget about this year and focus.
Yes, I know. Yeah, so let's bring it Matt Ibanez, who does the Mets Until Mets Do Our Part podcast. So, hey Matt, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing well, Chris. Thank you so much for having me on. I know we weren't able to hook up last time you had asked me, but I'm glad that I finally carved out the time and we're doing it now. So I'm ready to talk some Mets baseball with you guys.
I know. I'm just still PO'd by the end of the year a little bit here. I know this is November, going into December, but just laying an egg on the last game of the year, not scoring any runs, and just basically watching the Reds, the Brewers did their job, and I was going to buy a Brewers t-shirt and say, thank you,
and
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm with you because it was frustrating watching that game. I remember just sitting on my couch and watching it and thinking, I'm watching two things at once. I'm watching the Brewers, like you said, do their job, and the Reds are basically saying, "Take it, we don't want it," and the Mets are saying, "No, no, 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 you take it, we don't want it." And the fact that they just rolled over the way that they did, and of course, it's in Florida where it's always been an issue for this team with the Marlins and all that. So it was a rough year. I don't call it a collapse like many people did. I just call it a 3.5 month bleed that just happened to end the way that it did, because this team for 90 plus games was playing at a 400 win percentage. Like that's terrible. You're well below 500. They were a bad team. They had a hot couple of months and then it all went south. And that's essentially what it was. It was a poorly constructed team.
Yeah, that's true. And Juan Soto, Juan Soto, yes, he did okay, but he didn't have the numbers like he was, at the Yankees and all that stuff. And paying somebody $800 million, you have a bullseye on your chest.
Of course.
And he started out slowly. He did okay at the end of the year, but we need to bring back the polar bear because I know I'm a big Met fan, but I don't like a Florida Gator. But I guess I have to like, because he's, Polar Bear opting out of his deal, and I knew that was going to happen this year because he wants more money, and I knew that was going to happen. But he's the all-time home run king in the Mets organization. It's like with all the great hitters that the Mets have, like Kingman and Strawberry and people I grew up watching, like Gary Carter and all that stuff. It's like he's like the all-time home run king, and Darryl Strawberry's second. It's like. It's crazy that Darryl was stayed as the all-time home run king and up to this year. And I'm thinking like we had people like Delgado and Beltran and all that. So I'm like, wow, they couldn't win the whatever. So no. Do you think he's going to be a DH? I think he should just stay at first base. He's doing a good job at first because Keith helps him out all the time.
I think that it's going to be so fascinating. We've been talking about this for weeks now. It's going to continue until there's a resolution. But I think Pete does an okay job at first base. I really do. And the thing that I don't like is the fact that a lot of the talk this offseason to this point, when it comes to run prevention and things of that nature, it's blaming Pete as if he's the only reason for it. And I think that's unfair. Even though I feel that Pete can be, a little bit clumsy at first at times, and one could question, that toss to Senga and how it basically ended Senga's season because when he came back, he wasn't the same pitcher. I'm not going to put it all on him in that sense, but I understand where a team wants to get better on defense and asking him to be a DH because, look, we can all agree that he is a much better hitter as opposed to a fielder. And if they asked him, hey, Pete, and I said this on the show too, hey, if you want to come back, we're going to give you 4 years. We're going to give you $120 million, whatever it may be. And we want you to DH, let's say 70% of the time. So we're going to sign a first baseman that's a better glove. It helps us on the margins. We can play some better defense. We still have your bat in the lineup. We want you to be in New York. We want to do the right thing and keep, our all-time home run leader to further cement those stats and really become a legacy Met. Because as you mentioned, a lot of times when it comes to legacy Mets, it's either you think someone's going to do great, they get hurt. You think they're going to stay, they leave. You could talk about Strawberry and the drugs and the things that kind of sidetracked his career. Same thing with Doc. We all thought Jake was going to be here forever. Didn't happen. Like these legacy Mets. Tom Seaver. You thought Tom Seaver was going to be here forever. It doesn't happen. So, my partner on the show, John Saponaro, he often says that, sometimes you got to make a decision for the team in terms of it's okay to go the legacy route. And look, I don't think having Pete is going to be this huge detriment as a lot of people think, but I also believe that there has to be an understanding of the first base market. And we just saw a domino fall. We just watched Josh Naylor re-sign and stay at Seattle after being traded there mid-season. And he gets a 5-year deal, and he only got, 92 or 95 million, $95.5 million. So he's getting like 18 million a year. He's 28 years old. He's not the offensive player Pete is, but better defender, younger. So I think that kind of paints somewhat of a picture for Pete. I still don't think he's getting more than 5 years from anybody. So watching it all play out is going to be very interesting. I still think ultimately, I think he does come back to the Mets, but as we've seen before, anything can happen in free agency.
Right.
Sure.
And I hear the Orioles are talking to Pete, and I'm here in Baltimore. Okay, come to Baltimore. It's fine, because I call the Orioles the Mets AAA affiliate, because
He does.
everything from Citi Field comes down to 95 to Baltimore, or we go. We take everything like sell it Mullins. We took Mullins from the Orioles to the Mets, and I said to my mother, who's an Orioles fan, I'm like, yep, the AAA affiliate, helped out bringing us some people up from the farm system, and she started laughing.
They can take Mullins back for all I care. They can take him back. It's okay.
I don't understand why we put money on that guy. It's like I think he should stay in Baltimore because he's a Baltimore guy.
Yeah.
And you play in New York. New York is a whole different animal.
Different animal, man. Same
as Philadelphia, same as other cities. If you don't play well, they're going to jump on you.
Atlanta.
Yeah. And I felt like when he came from the trading deadline, he didn't really do anything. It was like, I'm like, where are you, Cedric?
No, it was really rough. He never could find his footing. And I had said once they traded for him, I had thought that, he's a fine player. I understood why they wanted to trade for someone because they didn't feel like they had an answer in center field. But I said, look, if you're trying to fix the bottom half of the lineup, which was a huge problem at the time of the trade deadline, I said, don't be shocked when this guy comes in and he struggles, because he was a very streaky hitter in Baltimore. And you're like, well, he has the home runs. He plays solid defense. I'm like, yeah, but a lot of times those things come in bunches. And when you're in New York, if you fall down and you can't get up, I'm telling you, it becomes that much harder to try and prop yourself back up, because the New York market is unforgiving. The fan base, whether you like it or not, unforgiving. The media, extremely unforgiving. You're in Baltimore, you might have 2 or 3 mics in your face. You come to New York, you got 15, 20 mics in your face, and they're questioning why you tied your shoe the way you tied your shoe. Like, it doesn't matter. So there's a lot of pressure. Some guys can handle it, some cannot. And I just feel like Cedric is a fine ball player. It just didn't work here.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Long Island, New York, so I know all about New York and all about sports media up there. And I did cover some of the Met games years ago. And you're right. They bring in 18,000 microphones in your face, and they can ask you, what did you have, a hamburger today or a hot dog?
And why'd you have that hot dog? Why'd you have that hamburger?
Did you have Nathan's today? Did you have Nathan's, or did you have but to me, it's like, I totally understand. And people down here don't get it. We see, these reporters, nothing against Baltimore reporters. They're very nice people. I know them all here. Very good.
Yeah.
But they don't ask the hard-nosed questions because they're afraid of the backlash. Up in New York, you could ask a question and have somebody, go off on you, and you're a living legend for one day, and you get a free meal. Down here, I don't like my mother says to me. She goes, "Yeah, they ask all the dumb questions to Harbs with the Ravens. Like, how you feel today? Yeah, you lost 45-0. How do you feel? Come on, give me.
I know how I feel.
Yeah, up there.
I will now.
Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned Tom Seaver, Matt, and I actually have a cousin who lives in Essex, Connecticut, and he actually knew Tom Seaver.
That's awesome.
Friends with him, and I had a grandfather who was a lawyer, who was one of the founding members of the New York Mets. So I may live in North Carolina, but I have ties to the New York Mets as well. So it's like,
why you give me beef about your, when we play each other, you and your braids?
Yeah, I know.
He gets on me all the time. He goes, my guys beat you 2 out of 3. He goes, shut up. I don't want to listen to that crap.
You see, Matt, it's called, I live here in North Carolina, and I'm a huge Atlanta Braves fan. So every time the Braves and Mets play, I get on to Chris, and it's like, I mean, it's all in good fun, but it's
of course.
Like when the Braves win, I taunt him. Don't I, Chris?
Of course you do.
Hey, we do it politely. Not like my brother sometimes. My brother's a big Miami Hurricane fan, and sometimes he goes way above,
Everyone's different. Everyone's different when it comes to their families and stuff.
Yeah. So we're the New York. So what do the New York Mets got to do, when, here in the offseason and free agency to get back to the playoffs like they were last year? Because it's like, you mentioned the New York media, and it's like with the Mets not making the playoffs, it's like it's not a good look for it's not a good look for the city, especially when you have your arch rivals also making the playoffs, and you want to see, obviously, then it's called, if you're a New York Mets fan, you want to make the playoffs and have the Yankees don't.
Yeah, I mean, especially like we just mentioned before, when you sign a player who's eventually going to opt into a contract that's going to pay him $805 million, you expect the team to win. You sign in its prime Hall of Fame player like Juan Soto at the age of 27, you're expecting to be a contender every single year, as you should be, because when you have a player of that caliber, you're destined, or you're trying to be destined to win on the yearly. And when this team doesn't make the playoffs, especially in the fashion that it did, it's a complete failure. And there are things that need to get done this offseason. There's a lot that needs to be done, because I just said before that this team was poorly constructed. We have a lot of players that are of similar positions. We don't have a lot of flexibility. The pitching was poor, so you're trying to better the front end of the pitching while still allowing the back end young pitchers to evolve and get a little bit better and more seasoned. The Brandon Sproats, the Jonah Tongs of the world. We saw Nolan McLean take the world by storm, but again, it was only 8 starts. So this team has to truly attack the pitching market. They have to better themselves on the front end. They got to find a frontline guy. You have to take care of your bullpen. We can talk about Pete Alonso until the end of time and how he needs to come back. But if we're being truly honest here, and this has been a big topic for us on the show as well, Edwin Diaz. We just had Will Salmon on from The Athletic talking about it the other day, and we both believe, all of us really believe, that Edwin Diaz is the crux of this offseason. You have no bullpen. This team has legit has no bullpen. If Edwin Diaz walks and he goes somewhere else, whether it's the Dodgers or wherever he might end up going, if that ends up happening, you are basically waving a white flag on your bullpen, because as much as you can say Devin Williams is a solid reliever or Roberto Suarez is a good reliever, like you could say all that stuff, and they are fine pitchers, good ball players. I'm not trying to bash them, but there is only one Edwin Diaz. Take care of your own, that being Alonso and Diaz. Take care of those spots, and then go out, work the trade market like you have to. Don't be afraid to shake. I always like to say, shake the snow globe. We're almost in the Christmas season, so shake the snow globe a little bit and change some things, because there has to be some change, because over the last 5-6 years, this team hasn't done much winning. So when it comes to Mark Vientos, Jeff McNeil, if they want to talk about Brandon Nimmo and Kodai Senga, like if you want to talk about potentially moving some of these guys, you can't be afraid to do it.
Yeah, true. Don't send Brandon Nimmo. He's a good.
I love Nimmo. I do. I love Nimmo, but the fact that he was mentioned today in an article by Jeff Passan, look, I think it's going to be very hard for them to move Nimmo, but I also understand where their mindset might be, because he still has 5 years left on the contract. He's 33 years old, and while I like him as a bat still, I think the way that he's been lumbering a little bit more, his legs look like they're not there like they used to be, which is normal as you get a little bit older, and he's had some leg issues. Seeing him in the outfield's been kind of rough to watch, but I wouldn't be shocked. But at the same time, I think it's going to be hard for them to move him anyway, but it doesn't hurt to, put players out there and float it just to see if there are any bites on it.
Exactly. Sure. Well, Matt, we're up against the clock here, but thank you so much for coming on. We'd love to get you on after the winter meetings to see what the heck is going on, if we do anything in Orlando besides going to Disney World.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Adam, for having me on.
Happy Thanksgiving to your family.
Yes,
happy Thanksgiving to you guys. It's good, and hopefully we can chat again soon.
All right, man. Talk to you soon. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Matt.
Anytime.
All right, bye. All right, that's great to have him on. Some comments here brought up. Ahmed, said like Josh Nader, that's what his signing bonus was. And then he came back on saying Nemo should be the everyday DH. It could be. But you still want that glove in the outfield.
Yeah, and it's called if you're the New York Mets, you gotta find a way to contend with the Philadelphia Phillies. I mean,
Oh yeah, Philly.
Yeah, it's like if you don't, you know,
Yeah, I think it still has a run. I think the division still runs through Philadelphia
until Atlanta, it's called.
because Atlanta.
I want to see how Atlanta does in the offseason. You know, speaking as a Braves fan, but you know.
Yeah, we'll get a Brave guy on during the winter months and see what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
Phillies
Now it's time to talk James Madison football
and the Nationals. So speaking of the Nationals, before we bring in Preston Corner from the Breeze down there in Harrisonburg, Virginia, somebody's celebrating a big milestone tomorrow night, and you probably saw this guy, Johnny Holiday.
I saw him, and I enjoyed talking to him in Maryland. You know,
so here's a clip. Hopefully this clip works. This is one of his signature calls.
Holding inbounds to Nicholas. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. He's across midcourt. 2 seconds, 1 second. Throws it up. And he got it! And the Terrapins win on the shot by Nicholas at the buzzer!
Johnny Holiday.
Johnny Holiday. So I'm hoping to see him tomorrow night. I was planning on going to the game, but I got some stuff going on here, so.
Yeah, it's called I enjoyed. It's called I enjoyed when you introduced me. You know, when we were at the Thousand Maryland game in September.
Yes. So Johnny Holiday, if you're out there, we salute you and your milestone. And keep up the good work. You're still young, and I can't believe he was a disc jockey back in the '60s. You know.
And he still got it at his age.
Yeah. I still love that Neil Diamond story he told me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed hearing that, when we were in College Park.
Yeah, so we're going to switch gears here. The Dukes of JMU hosting a very big game this Saturday down there in Harrisonburg, Virginia. I know that place really well. They're taking on the Washington State Cougars. We'll play Jasmine McIntyre's interview tomorrow. We'll do a special show on Thursday. We'll just play all our stuff we did yesterday. We're running out of time here. Even Coach Keeler will probably be on there as well. We're bringing Preston Coomer, who covers the Dukes for the Breeze. So, Preston, big game down there in Harrisonburg. The Cougars of Washington State are making another trip to the Commonwealth of Virginia. This time they're going north instead of going to Charlottesville. They're going up, what was that? What's that big road?
81. Right up 81.
Right up 81, but the back way to Charlottesville.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the back way. I can't remember the road. My dad said it went for Lynchburg. So anyway, big game. So what does the Dukes got to do to keep winning? Because now they clinched the Sun Belt going into the Sun Belt Championship. Is that championship game going to be at JMU or is it going to be at a neutral site?
So they have already clinched the Sun Belt East. It's almost mathematically impossible for them to not host. So out of the East champion and the West champion, man, it's crazy thinking that there's still a conference left that has divisions. But out of the East and the West champion, whoever has the better record is the host. So unless Southern Miss wins out in the West and JMU drops a game, then JMU is most likely going to be hosting here in Harrisonburg.
Yeah. Well, they took on Appalachian State last week, and I got to say, you guys are the Dukes. I saw them a couple weeks ago against North Texas on TV, and I looked up. It was like 23-21 at the half or something like that. And the second half, the Dukes just took over and just took over the game and got interceptions and all that stuff. What did you see from them? You cover them every day. So what did you see from your point of view?
Well, you said it right there yourself. I mean, that Texas State game, it was the same kind of deal the week before against ODU. They're going into half and they're only up by 1 or up by 2. And then all of a sudden you're looking at the box score after and they're winning 63-27. They're winning like 52-20. It's really the defensive adjustments going into the second half. Their defensive coordinator, Colin Hitchler, former co-defensive coordinator down in Alabama, has just been kind of a maestro on the defensive side of the ball. It's like watching a game of chess, the way that he is moving guys around, the way that he, like the third down defense, the way he's able to construct a blitz and just wreak havoc on opposing quarterbacks, especially coming into the second half. I mean, if you look at major statistics on defense, JMU is top 10 or pretty close to top 10 in most of those statistics across really the entire FBS. It's just been an unbelievable job by Hitchler coming into Harrisonburg.
Yeah. And you have a question for him?
Yeah, so ever since the loss to Louisville, James Madison is like unstoppable. So so just to talk about what happened after the Louisville game, to have James Madison being undefeated and on this long winning streak.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing is they are riding solely with Alonzo Barnett III at QB. They, in week 1 and then against Louisville, they were rotating him in and out with former Holy Cross and UNLV quarterback Matthew Sluka, who came in during the offseason through the portal. They were trying to get Sluka going on the run game, which he's unbelievable at. And, he could definitely, in some instances, add a lot of value in the +1 QB run game. It just seemed like a lot of times that Barnett could never really get in a rhythm when they were bringing Sluka into run. And that was unbelievably apparent at the Louisville game. Sluka ran, I think it was 20 or 21 times during that game. There wasn't much variation with what they were calling. A lot of it was just QB powers behind the left side of the offensive line. Everybody in the world kind of knew it was coming. It just didn't produce anything. And then they'd throw Barnett in on like third and longs, and Louisville, who has an unbelievable front seven, unbelievable pass rush, was just kind of giving him hell because they would bring 6 or 7 guys and he wasn't in any rhythm. Ever since then, they've brought Sluka in maybe 5 times in every game since then. And Barnett has just looked unbelievable, especially these last 5 weeks. He's thrown for, I think, over 260 yards, or at least 260 yards each of the last 5 games. He just got over 300 yards this past weekend against App State. He's just found a rhythm. That's really been the biggest takeaway. I think they're just kind of shooting themselves in the foot, trying to kind of force that dual threat in the backfield at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, when James Madison came to the FBS from the FCS and the CAA, I don't think no one knew what to expect. But ever since they came into the Sun Belt, it's like they're now the it team. And you mentioned Appalachian State. There have been some really good teams in the Sun Belt over the last few years. So just talk about James Madison being the top team in the Sun Belt Conference so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a team that ever since they have stepped up to the FBS, even through a coaching change and so much roster turnover 2 off seasons ago, this team just wants to win. Everybody that buys into this team and works with this team just wants to win. I mean, so much of what this school does and so much work goes into this football team. And I think Chesney has just done an unbelievable job. He stepped in a really rough position, and he had to bring in a lot of new faces. And I just think that really speaks to the commitment that the people that work around this team have put into it, and just to be able to keep that sort of consistency. And I know you're talking a little bit about App State right there. I know that's a game that they all really wanted to win bad. They haven't beat App State since that inaugural season in the Sun Belt. And last year's game in Boone got gritty. There were snowballs being thrown. There were words being exchanged. It was a game to cover. I know that they kind of threw everything out the window this past weekend. They weren't looking at rankings. They weren't looking at CFP. They weren't even looking at the Sun Belt. Coach Chesney joked in the press conference after the game. He was like, I didn't even know that we could clinch the East if we won this game. He said, we just wanted to beat App. That whole team just wanted to beat App. That's a rivalry that, has really brewed these last 3 years. And that's really all they were locked in on this past weekend.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like I live in Western North Carolina, so I know all about Appalachian State.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, I know a little about the App State James Madison rivalry, but it's nice to see James Madison have a rival like App State, because it's like when App State made the same transition coming over from FCS to the FBS, and it's like, to see App State having, a strong run in the Sun Belt since they came, and now to see James Madison do the same thing. It's, it's good to see these teams that have made the transition, and say, hey, even though we made the transition, we can't compete at the FBS level. And, it'll be cool to see James Madison in a bowl game this year. I don't know which one they'll go to, but, for the city of Harrisonburg and everything that they've been through, making the transition, I think wherever they go, and hopefully they can win. I mean, to see, James Madison the way they are right now is pretty cool. And Chris, you've covered James Madison in the past, so you get it.
Yeah, I covered them when we were in the CAA. I remember and my parents have a house in Virginia, so I know all about that area, and the fans are rabid, no matter what day of the week it is, if it's Friday, Saturday. Like I told my parents, don't even go in town to Harrisonburg on Saturday. Forget that idea, because the roads are all packed up.
No.
Yeah,
don't even try.
Yeah, don't even try. My mother goes, no, we go the other way. We go down to Elkton. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, there you go. Good thinking. It's not the biggest place in the world to begin with, especially when people are packing house for Saturdays. It fills up quick.
Exactly. Well, Preston, we're up against the clock here, but thank you so much for coming on tonight. I hope you enjoy Saturday. I know game day was supposed to be there, but hey, Washington State coming all the way to the
it'll be a cool matchup nonetheless, man. I appreciate you guys having me.
Exactly.
Thanks,
watch that game on ESPN Plus at 1 o'clock from down there in Harrisonburg. So, all right, Preston, talk to you soon, man.
Talk to you soon. Have a good one, guys.
All right, say bye.
Thanks, Preston.
It's Preston Coomer, who covers the Dukes for the school paper, the Breeze, down there. Whisper skiers here. The Knowles are rolling into Raleigh, North Carolina, this Friday night for a classic battle. And
we've had battles, all right, Chris.
Yeah,
haven't we?
Yes.
Oh,
So we have our good friend James Henderson joining us from Inside the Pack, the sports publisher. Hey, James, how you doing, bud?
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Thanks for coming up. First of all, we got to talk about something. A big news I just saw. NC State's going to Brazil next year to play in a game.
What?
Yeah. So talk about going international next year. It's kind of weird playing Virginia, and this year was a non-conference game.
Yeah, I mean, it probably won't be in my budget, but I'm sure there'll be some people that'll definitely make that trip out to Brazil for NC State. But yeah, I think it's a non-conference game. State was supposed to make the return trip to Virginia because this year they played them as a non-conference opponent.
Right.
And you end up getting it as a neutral site game. So I think that's a pretty good win for the Wolfpack.
Yeah. Why is these games non-conference? I think they need to put these games on. I know we have too many teams in the league. Yeah, we got Stanford and Cal and SMU, but somehow we got to start a rotation of NC State and the old classic ACC games.
Yeah, I think it's just that. You've got a regional rival who you're not playing every year. You need to schedule a certain amount of non-conference games that fulfill a requirement from a power conference standpoint. And also, if you're going to be competitive nationally and try to say you're going to play yourself into the playoff, you need to play good non-conference games. So why not schedule an ACC team if you can, if that's the way it sets up? And so I think for NC State this year, probably worked out worse for Virginia, obviously, because of the position they're in where, they'd play somebody else. They've only got, one loss at this point. So, yeah, for NC State, though, I mean, I think it's going to go down as a good non-conference win.
Adam, you have a question for him?
Yeah, so it's called these Friday night games in the ACC have been really, really crazy. I mean, just look at last Friday between Clemson and Louisville. But talk about the year that head coach Dave Doran has had with the Wolfpack. I mean, they did beat Georgia Tech at home, and Georgia Tech is, in the driver's seat to get to Charlotte. So what are some keys for the Wolfpack to beat Florida State on Friday night?
Well, I think for State, it's been an uneven season, and their schedule probably ended up a little tougher than they expected coming in. When you looked at it on the surface, You knew you had Notre Dame. You knew you had Miami on the road. You knew you had Florida State at home, but who would have thought Wake Forest would win 7 games, or who would have thought Virginia would be in the position they're in, or Duke would be where they're at, right? Even Georgia Tech, you mentioned, is a top 15 team. So their schedule ended up extremely tough, and it's been. I think State fans are probably a little. I want fatigue's not the right word. Maybe kind of upset with the way it's played out. But when you look at it, they've had a lot of tough games. I mean, yeah, you've got losses to Notre Dame, to Miami, to Pittsburgh, to Duke, and Virginia Tech. I mean, I think the Virginia Tech one's the one they feel like they probably let get away. Mm-hmm. But you still have wins against Wake Forest. You have a win against Georgia Tech. You have a win against Virginia. I mean, those are 3 good wins right now for NC State.
Yeah, exactly. You guys owned Florida State the last 3 times. You know, one of them, last you haven't played them since 2022 when you beat them by 2, down there in Raleigh. So I guess it's been a long time since Florida State's been there. So this is not the Florida State that we saw when we were kids growing up with Bobby Bowden and this is Mike Novell's Seminoles, and they're kind of like up and down. Like one week we beat Wake Forest by 41-2, and then we lay an egg at Clemson, and then last week we took we beat a really bad Virginia Tech team and made it look like we're winning the damn conference. So it's just now you're on the road, and Florida State hasn't won a road game since they beat Pittsburgh in 2023.
That's crazy. Right? Yeah. Like you mentioned, I mean, I assume we're close to the same age, all of us. That would sound mind-boggling when I was 15, 16 years old to think Florida State hadn't won a road game in 2 years. Right. Yeah, it's crazy. But that's where they're at. I'm not a Florida State insider. I would imagine they need to win something here for their head coach. I don't know. I don't know. A lot of money on the line, I assume. But yeah, I mean, it's a game where if you're NC State, you're 1 win away from bowl eligibility. You've got North Carolina remaining after that. Can you find a way to get to 7 wins? You feel like you're going to get a Florida State team who I'm of the belief with teams like Florida State and Miami we've seen here over the last few years, down the stretch, oftentimes if they're not in it, they tend to fold a little bit. And you've seen that, I think, from Florida State this year, right? Kind of the moment they were eliminated. I mean, I think we even saw it a little bit from Clemson for maybe the first time this year, where it was just kind of like things steamrolled on them a little bit once they were eliminated from contention. And so I think NC State probably feels like they're going to have a pretty good shot in this one. You mentioned the long winless streak on the road. So we'll see what happens Friday night.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen crazy, like I said earlier, we've seen crazy things happen on Friday night in the ACC. I mean, Florida State went into double overtime versus Virginia and lost. I mean, we've seen crazy things, but just talk about the win versus Georgia Tech and what that meant for Coach Dave Doran and that entire NC State program.
Well, it was needed. NC State had started the year 4-0. I don't have their schedule in front of me. I believe 4-0. With wins over Wake Forest, Virginia. They also beat East Carolina. So they were feeling good. They went to Duke, had a 2-score lead right before halftime there, had a bad turnover, and that game kind of turned over for NC State the other way. They ended up losing it. Then you followed up with loss to Virginia Tech. You lose to Notre Dame. You lose to Pittsburgh. So things have been they needed a big win, and then you had Miami after Georgia Tech. So you didn't feel comfortable going down to Miami. So I think for them, it was just a big one to get, a top 10 win against an undefeated team, regardless of what folks think of Georgia Tech. I don't know how people view them, even though they are a team with just 1 loss. But still, it's going to go down as a top 10 win. And as a program, it's funny, guys. I see all the time folks will reference these coaches. I saw it with James Franklin when he was let go. Their top 10 record or top 5 record as a head coach, and it's always terrible. And I'm just like, yeah, isn't that the case for almost every coach, right? It's not easy winning top 5, top 10 games against those types of opponents. You're like, nobody's out there winning 60% of those games. So, anytime you can get one, you'll cherish it. And I think for NC State to get that one Saturday night game at home, they have to feel pretty good about it. And I expect Friday night to have a good environment, with Florida State coming to town.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, the game is sold out, and it's like homecoming, and it's like you want to do good at Carlos Finley Stadium. I actually know where I actually went to a Christmas concert last year at the Lenovo Center, and it's right there, right next to Carter Finley Stadium. I will say it's a very nice stadium that you guys have in Raleigh. So I'm hoping, now do you think we'll see another crazy ACC Friday night game like we've seen throughout the year?
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I don't know what to think of Florida State right now. Just in terms, when you say crazy, like there's different ways you can look at it, right? I tend to think, like you mentioned, the Florida State Virginia game, which was up and down, both teams scoring a lot of points, not really stopping each other. I just don't know if we'll get that type of a game. I think it's going to be a little more low scoring. I think can NC State find a way to make Florida State have to throw the football? I think that's going to be their focus. And for NC State, quarterback CJ Bailey, he's been extremely inconsistent, in my opinion, this year. And I know there's been some highs, but there's been a lot of lows. And the lows have typically come against strong defenses. And I still believe, regardless of Florida State's record, I still think they have a strong defense. And so I'm going to be interested to see what Bailey does against Florida State's defense, because they need him to have a strong performance if they're going to win this game, because Florida State's just so hard to run the football on at times.
Yeah, you mentioned CJ Bailey. He's had an up and down year. Looking at some of his stats real quick, 2,500, 2,530 yards of off through the air. Hollywood Smothers has 800. Is a leading rusher, 823 yards. Terrell Anderson, 552 yards. So if CJ Bailey can, get it done versus that Knowles defense, do you think NC State has a shot to win the game?
Yeah, I haven't seen the line. I don't know if you guys have seen what the line is for this one, but
I think Florida State's favored. I think they're like a 4.5 point favorite.
Yeah, I definitely think NC State has a chance. Florida State is tend to play, especially on the road, down to and maybe even below their competition. And so going into that environment, I thought you saw State really feed off of that in the win against Georgia Tech. Being able to come back home and you get a night crowd, you sold out, you get a little extra juice running in you. I think State benefited from that environment. And, if this game were played in Tallahassee or maybe even a neutral site venue, I probably would be looking at Florida State winning this one. But I think NC State's got a great shot to win it, just because that you've been to that stadium before. It's not easy winning there. At night, certainly against quality opponents. They may have a letdown or two against someone that they should beat, but they typically get up and play quality name opponents really well at home.
Yeah, I will say, to me, NC State is a team that, that has really good stars on their offense, and their defense is really good too. I know they gave up a lot of points and a lot of yards to Georgia Tech, but still, to pull a win like that, for head coach Dave Doran, a lot of people have said that he's on the hot seat. It just does good things for head coach and the program as a whole.
Yeah, excuse me. Dave's been at NC State 2013, so. Yeah. You guys know that's ancient these days, right? You don't have any guys staying out of school 12 seasons, 12, 13 years. So for him to even do it and make it this far, I think you'd have to call his tenure a success, even though he hasn't had that championship season. Look, a lot of programs don't have championship seasons. I was looking at it. I think since he's been the head coach in the ACC, you've had 3 different teams win the league. I think it's Florida State, Clemson, and Pitt, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't think I'm forgetting somebody. So there's a lot of teams in the ACC not winning the league. There's a lot of teams not doing it. Now, he's had them win 6 games a year, 6 conference games, 7 conference games. They finished top 25 4 or 5 years under him. So he's had some good, really good seasons. He just hasn't had that banner breakout championship year. And I think, you know how it is, fans get a little fatigued.
Oh, yeah.
And they want to see if somebody else can get over the hump. I tend to think where he has the program, probably the next step is the hardest step for a head coach to take.
Right.
Like it's hard to, you can get a program, I think, to 6, 7, 8 wins. Mm-hmm. It's hard getting it to 10 or 11 or 12.
Right.
And consistently stay there. Yeah. And so like I was reading an article the other day where I think it's Sonny Dykes at TCU's on the hot seat, and he was in the national championship game, 3 years ago? And, and I mean, you just like fans tend to think you should automatically build on that. No, it doesn't happen that way, right? Sometimes you just have a magical year. And I think that's the one thing, though, Doeren has lacked is he hasn't had that magical breakout type season.
Exactly. Well, James, I hope you enjoy the game Friday night. We'll be watching it here, and we'll do our little show in between the third and fourth quarter. But thanks so much for coming on, and I want to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving, and don't eat too much turkey in 2 weeks or a week from now.
Oh, there you go. Appreciate it, fellas. Thank you. Anytime.
All right, man. Talk to you, buddy. See you. Back. All right, folks. That's James Henderson, covers the NC State Wolfpack. We're going to start our thing here. It was a little flashback to November 19th, 1995. So here it is.
He looks to the end zone. He's flushed out of there. Now will throw incomplete. It was intended for Alan Pitts. And the Calgary Stampeders give up the ball on downs with 9 seconds remaining. So the Baltimore Stallions are champions of the Canadian Football League for 1995 as Jim Spiros, the owner, accepts congratulations.
It's Marty Matthews. That's Marty Long, the defensive line coach, and he was just hugging and giving a kiss too. Look at these guys. Tell you what, it's an exciting bunch of guys over there, and they deserve it.
For Don Matthews, his second win as a head coach, 5 times as an assistant coach with the Edmonton Eskimos. He was on a Grey Cup winner. He won the trophy in 1985 with the BC Lions, and he will take it back to Baltimore in 1995. A decade has passed since he last sipped champagne from the Grey Cup. But this has been a very satisfying season for the Baltimore Stallions. Their 13th consecutive win. They finished the year with 10 regular season wins, 2 postseason playoff wins, and now this Grey Cup triumph, and they celebrate as Grey Cup champions of 1995, and one of the happiest of all, Jim Spiros, the owner of the football team.
All right, folks, we're doing a celebration because November 19th, 1995, the Baltimore Stallions showed the city of Baltimore another champion, and we have the owner of the Baltimore Stallions, Jim Spiros, joining us on via the telephone. So, Jim, thanks for coming on tonight. I'm waiting for IrvinSmith to join us. KennethWatson had something happen, so we'll get him on another time. We'll get him down the road. But talk about November 19th, 1995. The game was a very windy day up there in Saskatchewan. I was reading it last night. I was doing some prep work for today, and I'm like, they almost had to move this game to another day because the wind was so bad.
I remember doing an interview the day before, and the wind was blowing pretty hard that day as well, and they were worried about the stands. You know, we had a sellout crowd. There was 52,000 people there in the stadium, and they brought temporary stands into the end zone, and I remember that they were talking about just how secure the stands were, and it was not only windy, but it was cold that evening too. It was a night game, and again, we know the outcome, but it all played in our favor.
Yeah, so we start off, people don't realize ESPN2 had some game on, so here in America, we didn't see the opening kickoff and all that stuff. And Chris Wright takes the opening, the kickoff for us and takes it back for a touchdown. What was like having that guy, to get that thing started for you guys?
Well, it just really electrified the crowd because there was all this pregame ceremonies and the anticipation of 2 great teams teeing off. I mean, truly the 2 best teams in the CFL. Doug Flutie was well. They had Garcia as his backup who played half the season that year and won like games for them. So they had a tremendous team, and so it was a great matchup. But then when we scored, I mean, it was I just remember we had a lot of fans there that went for that game. But obviously, playing in Canada, it was kind of the USA against Canadians. It was, of course, they were cheering for the Calgary Stampeders, and they had a lot of fans there too, because Calgary is one of those prairie teams very close to Regina, Saskatchewan.
Yeah, my girlfriend heard that name last night, and she's like, "What? Is that the name of the city?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's the name of the city." She goes,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, seriously?" I'm like, "Yep, that's the name of it, and I'm not making it up."
Well, as you know, they just won the Grey Cup
Right.
here this past weekend, and they have a brand new stadium up there now, and it's a great football town. That place, it reminds me of Green Bay, Chris, the town of Saskatchewan. I mean, Regina. It's all about their football team, and very much like Green Bay. So it's a pretty cool town. Great place for the Grey Cup. There was all these great festivities. I mean, I can't believe it's been 30 years. I mean, but I remember going to the pancake breakfasts that week and all the hoopla, the interviews, and the two teams being there. And what a great matchup, because you had the two best quarterbacks. You had Tracy Ham and Doug Flutie. And we had just had so much talent on our team. And it was, it all showed up that evening. I think, no question, the better team won that game.
Yeah. So we're up 7-0, and then Calgary scores the first 13. 13-7. And then what was your mind? Because I know, were you on the sidelines for the whole game?
I was in the box up for the first half, and I came down in the second half on the sidelines. And so I was trying to keep my composure. Of course, the league officials were there, and the commissioner and all that stuff, and I was upstairs. But then in the second half, I wanted to focus just on the game and being on the sidelines. But I never felt in doubt. Having a long season, and as crazy as it may sound, 13 points in the CFL, you can score very quickly in this league.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too worried about that in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, because we scored right after that. Carlos Huerta, who a former Miami kicker that my brother used to watch with the Hurricanes, had a big, great at the time, a 53-yard field goal in the win. That's crazy. Yeah. So just talk about him being he took over for Donald Ipe the year after, right?
That's correct. And, and I mean, we had some, just tremendous kick. The kicking game in Canada is such a huge part of the game. And having Josh Miller as our punter, I mean, field position, wind. I mean, Don Matthew was a master of the game when it came to the wind conditions as well. But our kickers have been used to it all season long. I mean, year before that, Iggy kicked a 57-yarder in Winnipeg to win the game. So, I mean, we're used to being in those pressured situations, and the kicking game. Our special teams were a big reason why we were Grey Cup champions.
Yeah. So talk about Josh Miller, because I remember I was a kid at the time, and I wanted to get an autograph with him, and he told me before the game, he goes, "Oh, I can't do anything. I'm a kicker. I'm trying to keep my focus on the game." And kickers, they have all these weird things they got to do, before the game and all that stuff. So, but what was it like having him being your punter, and then he goes off to the NFL and being very successful with the Steelers?
Well, he was a great athlete. I remember just watching him, during our training camps when Jim Pop said, we're bringing in a guy that's was All-American. He's one of the best kickers in the league, the college NCAA last year. And for us to get him was pretty amazing. And for him to come in and do the job he did for us. But, he performed, and in his own right. I think one of the reasons I think we're so successful in our field position with Don Matthew is that Josh, when he kicked the ball, it was 5-second hang time, 65, 70 yards. I mean, he could really boom the ball.
Yeah, he did. He had a good leg, and that came when he went to the Steelers. He did a great job.
Sure did.
Adam, do you have a question for Jim?
I do. So, Jim, what was it like to win the Grey Cup against a team that had a legendary quarterback like Doug Flutie on the other side when he was a member of the Calgary Stampeders?
Well,
our whole team, including myself, we had great respect for Doug. I mean, I remember our inaugural season when we kicked the ball off in Baltimore. We played Calgary, and they, we played them pretty tight in the first half, but they ended up putting 40 points up on the board the first time we'd ever played at Memorial Stadium in a real game and a regular season game. And I just knew that it would be great someday to get another chance against Doug Flutie and the Stampeders. And we quickly grew up in the league. I mean, Don Matthews had so much experience, but for me, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I truly think Doug Flutie might be the greatest CFL player of all time. I mean, he was so hard to defend. Right when you think you had him, he's like he had eyes in the back of his head. Mm-hmm. Such a tough competitor. And then I saw him get hit. I didn't think he would ever get back up. He bounced right back up, whether it was Alfred Payton or any of our defensive, KennethWatson, IrvinSmith. I mean, they would put a shot on him. And Doug is just a tough person. And I had a chance one time, several years back, we were at a football game. I was down at Wake Forest watching Clemson play, and Doug was doing the game. And so for about 30 minutes before the game, I got to speak to him about that game and how still upset, this is, 15 years later about losing that game. He was such a competitor and great for the Canadian Football League. And we know how well he did in the NFL. So a lot of respect for Doug Flutie, but the fact that we beat the Calgary Stampeders and Doug Flutie, that meant a lot to this team.
Yeah, it did, and I think it meant a lot to the city too because we had a great season, and we had 2 home playoff games, and people didn't realize that last playoff game at home was the last game ever at Memorial Stadium because 3 weeks later that team called the Ravens showed up here, and it's still, to me, I know it's 30 years later. I'm like, I respect the Ravens, but without you guys, I think the Ravens will be still in Cleveland. Well, you know what? Again,
it was like lightning in a bottle. We've talked about this a lot. And last September, last year, Ron Snyder, we had an event for a documentary that was released over at Towson University, and it was a great turnout. We had a lot of players come back. So what's been great, Chris, is that we've had these. 10 years ago, we had our big 20-year reunion at Towson University. We had 250 people in attendance. Many of the players and coaches came back, and so it's funny how time passes. But this week again brings a lot of feelings to a lot of our players and coaches who are still with us, and it's just amazing to think that the path that we had, the history that we made in the Canadian Football League that will never be taken away. The only team to ever win a Grey Cup, a United States team. And that'll never happen again, in my opinion. So we're always going to be very special to the Canadian Football League. I talk to people occasionally from the league office, and I just know that we'll always be remembered as one of the greatest teams to ever play in the Canadian Football League. Yeah. Well, we have Jim Spiros, the former Stallion owner. Jim, I have to ask you a question. Do you still have that Grey Cup in your office, or did he have to give it back? No, I had to give the original back. I have a kind of a junior replica of the trophy. Okay. It's very special, and I know all the players on the team, all the coaching staff, Jim Pop, myself, is that to have our name on that Grey Cup forever is very special. And I'm just proud that we were, we should have had it in BC the year before. Mm-hmm. That was a thriller to the end of the game and a disappointment, but that was what our whole theme was in 1995 is what unfinished business, and under the great leadership of Don Matthews, rest his soul. What a great person, great coach, loved the players, tough guy. I mean, he was a tough coach to play for in the sense that you're kind of always as good as your last game. For Don, you had to go out there and earn it every game with him, and everybody on that roster knew. You went out there and we played hard because Don Matthews, that's what he demanded as a coach. And I was just, we didn't start that 1995 season off that great. We went through a spell there. We lost a couple games, and then all of a sudden we ran off 13 in a row. And I attribute a lot of that to his leadership and how he managed our football team.
Yeah, talk about Don Matthews. You were very lucky that he was available to be the head coach because you were at the time when we got the franchise. You were looking for a coach, and what was it like making a phone call to him and say, "Hey, Don, would you like to be the head coach of the expansion Baltimore CFL?" It was the Colts before all the legal battles we had to go through. But what was it like when he said, "Sure, I'll come to Baltimore"?
Well, you know what? It was, Chris, you're right. It was kind of a dream come true. I mean, I knew I wanted him from the beginning, and speaking with him and his agent, and he wanted to come to the United States. He wanted to be part of the expansion, and he knew that Baltimore was a great football town. But he'd been in Saskatchewan. Here was a coach that's already won a Grey Cup. He was, he won several Grey Cups as a defensive coordinator in Edmonton, but he also won a Grey Cup there with the BC Lions, and so I knew when I was able to get the football team that he was my number one choice.
Right.
And Mike Riley was another great coach. He'd also coached in the college ranks and also in the NFL and the CFL. Mike was somebody I had a lot of respect for. And Case Stevenson, who I actually coached for when I was in Buffalo with the Buffalo Bills, he was another coach. He'd been in Sacramento, and so there were several people I was speaking to, but Don Matthews was the number one choice, and the stars aligned. I had to take a big risk because I personally had to guarantee a contract in December of 1993 so that I could have him as I received the franchise on February 17th, 1994. So I kind of knew the inside track that we would get the team, but I had to get him signed in December, or if not, he was going to go back to another team in the Canadian Football League.
Right.
So it was there was a little bit of pressure on me, but I never looked back. I signed him as a coach, and then we just hit the ground running.
Exactly. Adam, you have another question for Jim?
Yes. Just talk about having a sensational running back like Mike Pringle on your team and being a star like he was for the Stallions.
Well, Mike, again, another fierce competitor. I mean, I think he could still play today. I stay in touch with him, and we text back and forth. I see him on Facebook a lot and that kind of thing. And he, you know what? He never wanted to leave the field. We would see him run over people, run around people, run over people. I mean, I remember standing on the sidelines and watching him just collide with defenders, and they would bounce off him, and he'd keep his, because of his low center of gravity. But again, he's like Saquon. He's that type of player. He could get hit, spin, run. I mean, he was really a tremendous player, and he would play hurt. He did not want to leave that field. So I know that we had another great running back, Robert Drummond, and the two of those people in the backfield, with Peter, we had so many great players, but Mike was one of those players. He never wanted to leave the field, and he's a Hall of Famer. He deserves it. Greatest running back I believe ever in the Canadian Football League. And think about it, in a traditional passing game, we had a balanced attack, and really the offensive line they would block, and they blocked, and they opened up some great holes. But one of the reasons we were such a powerhouse in 1995 and won the Grey Cup is when it was because of Mike Pringle and our running game.
Yeah, it was a good running, and Tracy Ham being the quarterback, and having him on the team for 2 years. It's always good to have that veteran quarterback.
Oh, absolutely. And Tracy was such a he was such a great leader, and the way he managed the game. And you just said it, Chris, is that you always, even though you have 12 guys, you had to account for Tracy Ham every play. They had to have somebody always spying Tracy. So really, having a quarterback like Tracy Ham helped open up our running game, and then our great, Chris Armstrong, our great receivers we had outflanked. We had a great offensive attack. Of course, we scored a lot of points, but again, the combination of our defense, offense, special teams, we were a well-balanced team and very well coached.
Exactly. Well, Jim, we're up against the clock here, but I appreciate you coming on. It's been an honor to know you as a friend, and it's pretty funny that Lil Chris gets a chance to talk to his team that he enjoyed watching football for. Because when I moved here from New York, the Redskins, or don't call them that now, the Commanders, was the team that my dad watched. And when you guys came to town, it changed football in my house. Because my dad enjoyed my family enjoyed going to the games. We were on the 55-yard line, and my mom brought the hot dogs in the bag. I know she shouldn't brought anything in, but it's okay. It's my mother. But we enjoyed it. And in those 2 years, it sucked. And to me, it sucked that the Ravens came because I was looking forward to the Grey Cup coming here in Baltimore in '96. If we had the team,
That would have been special, but I just know that we had such great fans, such great support. It's hard to believe, Chris, again, 30 years have gone by, but you know what? People still remember the Stallions. I'm very happy and pleased about that, and I appreciate you having us on tonight because it is a special time. November 19th, I'll never forget that date. It was a tremendous night in Regina, Saskatchewan, winning the Grey Cup.
Exactly. Well, Jim, keep up the good work. I know you're doing a great job with your wings. Your restaurant. Maybe when I get down to Virginia before we go to Charlotte, maybe I'll stop by and get some wings from your place because I heard they're pretty good.
You're always welcome to come over and see me for sure.
All right, man. Thank you so much for coming on the phone, and I want to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And a Merry Christmas and everything else, in the holiday season.
Good. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on tonight. Appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right.
I see you. Bye.
Chris, it's like when I come back to Maryland next year.
Yeah, we'll go down to Virginia. We'll go see Jim.
Yes, I mean, I would like to. I know it's not the Grey Cup that we see on TV, but to see a version of it, like Jim has. I mean,
I'll call him up. I'll see where he is, what restaurant he's
around. I mean, I think it'd be
he's around the Northern Virginia area. So it's I think it's around different, like Alexandria and where Dulles is. Dulles Airport.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just go down there one night for dinner, after the football game, and just take Nicole down and get some wings and
go see Jim.
Yeah,
I'm game. Trust me, I'm game with that.
I found some stuff that came out on that day in 1995. First part of the Beatles documentary came out on ABC on that day on 1995.
Cool.
First Toy Story premiered.
Wow.
Yeah, and then a bad typhoon Angela went through the Philippines and Vietnam, causing widespread destruction and 800 deaths. It's just like that Melissa hurricane. Yeah. So pretty cool. Thanks for folks for tuning in. We're sorry we couldn't get the other guy, IrvinSmith. I guess something happened. We'll get on. Tim was telling me on the mic on the phone. They're going to work on maybe next year to be in the Maryland Sports Hall of Fame next year.
Hey,
so maybe you could come then, and you can meet all the.
Oh, trust me, I'd go.
Yeah, meet all the former CFL players that I grew up.
Sheesh, I like CFL. I mean.
Yeah. On this date in 1989, our good friend Parker Bone III, won the Brunswick World Open, and this was on NBC.
With Jay Randolph and Arlington.
Yeah, look at the young Parker Bone III. Up 24 on Phil Ringer, winning his second title of his career. At that time, his second title.
And look at the prize money, $33,000 for top. Sheesh, you don't see.
Yeah. Speaking of that, bowling is going to be on the CW, and we're itching about it because it's 97 days after until the first. Yeah, so that's Parker Bone III, winning that on NBC Sports, but Jay Randolph and Earl Anthony on the call. Yes. We'll be playing our interviews we did last night. I'm going to put them on Friday night before the Florida State NC State game. We'll put them on at 6, and then we'll do our thing at 10 o'clock during the third and fourth quarter. So we'll see if Priscilla wants to come on and watch it. Today also is we forgot to tell you. Also, is this guy's birthday.
Yes, it is. I was about to say that. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's Mickey and Minnie's birthday today. Happy birthday, Mickey and Minnie. Yeah, I know people are probably we're a sports show. Yeah, but we love the mouse and his girl.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So we want to wish those two. Mickey Mouse is 97 years old. And Minnie's probably the same, but they look 35. Right?
Yeah.
So What else we got here going on here? Oh, on this day in 1997, they had the expansion draft for Major League Baseball between the Diamondbacks and the Devil Rays.
Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah. So today, the date, June. I guess it was a Friday night then, or a Saturday night then.
I think so. Yeah.
No, it wasn't a Saturday night. It probably was during the week because I know the Grey Cup in '95 was a Sunday, so it was probably like a Tuesday.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's what's going on.
Next, it's called Chris. Next Tuesday, it's called If You Want to Do a Special Birthday Celebration.
Oh, I'm working on that. Trust me.
Good. It's called.
I had my.
Don't tell me anything. You know.
No, I had the squirrel in my head working out this afternoon, trying to figure out who should I contact for you.
Well, it's called. You know, Chris. You know who to contact.
I know. I got people.
Well,
in
yeah,
my head.
it's called. You know, I mean, I can give you a list. I mean.
Yeah. Well, we'll be on next night at a special time, 8:30, because Nicole's father's birthday is on Tuesday, the 25th. So early birthday gift. Happy birthday to Charlie.
Happy birthday, Charlie.
Yeah, so we're going to be on next Tuesday night at 8:30. We'll get you ready we'll have a birthday surprise for Adam, folks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know what that, yeah.
We'll get you ready for rivalry week.
Yeah, it's called, Chris. I think
we got Florida State, Florida. We got old-fashioned heat between
Georgia Tech, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State, the Egg Bowl, Texas A&M, Texas. So Auburn, Alabama, and the Iron Bowl.
Old-fashioned heat coming up next week, and then we'll find out this weekend who is going to Charlotte. Right now, Georgia Tech is in the clubhouse.
And Virginia wins against Virginia Tech next week. Then they'll get in, and then.
Yep. And if you want Miami needs a lot of help.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's called while we were on the air, Chris, the college football rankings came out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and it's like, why is Miami still a representative of the ACC? I don't get it.
I don't get it. So the top four, it didn't change at all.
Yeah.
It did change.
It did change. Yes, it did.
It did. What was Georgia? Was Georgia? What was Georgia last week?
Let's see here.
Because it's Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M. That's the first three. That's the same. And then Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon, Oklahoma, Notre Dame at 9, Alabama at 10. I don't know why Alabama's number 10. They lost to Florida State. BYU.
Well, they lost. Yeah, the reason why Alabama's 10 is because they lost to Oklahoma.
Okay. And Oklahoma is 8. Miami's 13. Georgia Tech 16. Virginia is 19, and that's basically it. Yeah, so it should be more ACC schools in there as well. What's wrong with Wake Forest? Like Dan was saying, what's wrong with Wake Forest? Wake Forest should be in there.
Yeah.
But we'll talk. That's another discussion for another day.
Yes.
But we do appreciate you folks joining us here tonight here on the program, and next week we'll have rivalry week, and we'll get ready for old-fashioned hate and everything else, and by then we'll probably figure out who's going to be in Charlotte, and we'll get ourselves ready for our coverage.
Yeah, we'll have fun in Charlotte.
Hopefully, so.
It's called. Hopefully, we'll have fun in Charlotte. And, it'll be cool to see everybody when we go, like normal.
If Georgia Tech makes it, we'll try to get hold of Carl, because he's a diehard.
He is, yeah.
Guy, and he's been there for years, covering Georgia Tech, and he's probably.
We'll probably see.
Big guy there, big guy. Yeah.
And then Chris, we could see Gary Stokin in Charlotte for the ACC.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a hold of him so we could do a pre-tape interview with him, but we'll figure it out. That'll be something down the road. So anyway, we'll see you all next Tuesday night at 8:30. We'll leave you with a number one country song on this date in 1995. Some guy named George Strait with a song called "Check Yes or No." This is from.
I know. I love that song.
Yeah, this was number one on this date on November 19th.
I know that song on the back of my hand.
November 19th, 1985, because tomorrow is the anniversary of the Grey Cup. So this was the number one song. We'll see you all next Tuesday night at 8:30, and we'll see you Friday night at the third quarter here on the IrvinSmith Sports Radio. Have a great rest of your week. Stay warm and stay out of trouble, folks. Okay?
Yes. And be nice to everyone, that's working retail during the holidays.
Exactly.
Like me.
Exactly. Here it is.
It started way back in third grade. I used to sit beside Emmylou Hayes, a pink dress, a matching bow, and her ponytail. She kissed me on the school bus, but told me not to tell. Next day I chased her around the playground, across some monkey bars to the merry-go-round. And Emmylou got caught passing me a note. Before the teacher took it, I read what she wrote. Do you love me? Do you want to be my friend? If you do, well then don't be afraid to take me by the hand. If you want to, I think this is how love goes. Check yes or no. And she's my wife. Still like two kids with stars in our eyes. Ain't much changed, I still chase Emmylou up and down the hall, around the bed in our room. Last night I took her out in a white limousine. 20 years together, she still gets to me. Can't believe it's been that long ago. We got started with just a little note. Do you love me? Do you want to be my friend? And if you do, well then don't be afraid to tell